So you either own a 1996 made in Mexico standard Fender Stratocaster or you're thinking about buying one. There's been a lot of questions out there on, especially now that the year that this is recorded, it's 2021, and these late or mid to late 90s Stratocasters are starting to get into it's not vintage yet, but it's getting, they're getting older. And although they were the less expensive versions than their USA counterpart, they do not only hold their value, if the same, if not better, as far as dollar for dollar spent, but they are excellent instruments, and up and down they're excellent. And I'd like to. This video is about basically pleading my case, and it might just be my opinion, but it's not purely subjective. I have some very good objective reasons that I think that at least this year and maybe the ones surrounding this year that were made in Mexico are going to either A, go up in value, or B, be very well worth collecting as far as just overall quality of an instrument. And I have my reasons. So let's start at the top. The Fender Made in Mexico plant, it opened in 1987, and they basically, at that time, they got the brand back from CBS, and they were starting to, prior to this, a lot of their, quote, import versions of the Stratocasters and Telecasters were all made in Japan. And as a lot of you know, those ones that were made in Japan are outstanding quality. I mean, from top to bottom. I mean, they did a great job, and Fender was kind of left scratching their head going, man, this is what we have to compete with in order to put out a quote, import line of their guitars. So this was a very tall order. When you see some of the quality of those Japanese Strats and Teles, you understand why. So they opened the plant in 1997, and you see the remnant of the Squire series that kind of comes out of that era. And I'm going to apologize for the camera, but I'm going to move it. You want to make sure when you are looking at these Strats, the ones I'm talking about, these are strictly I'm sure that comes through on the camera, the silver label where it says Fender, and there's nothing up here on the headstock, and there's no evidence of anything being rubbed away. And every once in a while on the back of these, you'll see this stamp here with the 1996 serial number that's on the front. But that doesn't have to be on there. Some of them have that, some of them don't. Like this is the Rosewood example of the same guitar. Still made in 96. Nothing up here at all. Silver logo. And there's nothing on the back of these. Okay? And I apologize for the upgraded tuners. Not that I apologize, but they don't come with those. I put those on there from on myself because these are my top two guitars that I play all the time. So, having said that, not to be confused with the Made in Mexico Squire series that you do see a lot, and you will see that with a black Fender screen printed logo that looks similar to what you see there, but up there at the top where you would normally see original contour body, it'll say Squire series up there, and every single one, at least 9 out of 10 have rubbed that off, and you'll see the sanding marks from them taking that off. So they'll call it a 1996 Made in Mexico Fender. They're really not lying, but it's the Squire series, and they were not the same parts that were used on these, which were called the standard Strat in 1996. So do not confuse those. And everyone that you'll see like on eBay at this present moment, you look up 96 Fender Strat, they all have that black logo, and I'm not talking about those. Okay? So, and then, like I said, you can always tell by looking, get a good clear picture of the headstock, black logo, and sand it off. So the Fender plant, that opened in 1987. So you have very scarce, you have the Squire series coming out of there. And then you start seeing the, up to 1994, they start beginning to make the standard series. And then the plant burns down. So in 1994, Ensenada, Mexico plant burns to the ground. And that included all, the machinery, everything that they had there. There was some stock that was saved, but everything that was salvageable was transferred to Corona, California, which is, if you look it up, it's like it's a few hours from the Ensenada, Mexico plant across the border. So it's not like thousands of miles away or anything like that. So they transferred all of the equipment, or all the what they could salvage at least, back to Corona, California, while they filed insurance claims and had the other plant rebuilt. And like I said, they were blown away with the Japanese and the Japanese versions of these of the import guitars. So they wanted to at least get that quality, and that's where the in my opinion, this is where the objective stuff comes in. In 1994, John Suhr, he signs with Fender to run their newly founded and getting off the ground custom shop, and he was there from 1994 to 1997. Now, did John Suhr build these 1996 Mexico Strats? No, I'm not saying that, but come on, if you're a Fender and you have this guy on hand and you're worried about quality and you're trying to get the brand back to where it was in the 60s before it was sold, and they're trying to gain that market back as far as being the quality guitar, you don't think they asked John Suhr his opinion, and you don't think he had input? Come on, it's guaranteed that he did. So the plant gets rebuilt. Everything is up there in Mexico, or that was in Mexico is now up in Corona, California, under John Suhr's watchful eye, and he is there for these the years that we're talking about. So in 1996, you have either the old stock has been blown out from the 94 fire, and then in 1996 it's operational because it was rebuilt at the end of 1995 and completely up and running in 96 after the fire. So now you have, when they restocked that factory, they took everything that was in the Corona plant, and a lot of the machinery that had been used for years was transferred down to the Ensenada plant. And machines, they have the mojo just like some of the guitars do. So some of this equipment was excellent, and Fender, I'm sure, kept the ones that were, super pride and joy, or whatever they wanted from the 50s and 60s at the Corona plant. But nonetheless, the equipment that was sent down to Ensenada and or replaced new was excellent stuff. So, and it was also the designs and neck carves and things began to bear that John Suhr feel and look and quality when they headed back there. So they were all taken from the Corona factory, and the maiden voyage of the new factory there in Ensenada was off the ground and fully operational in 96. There was stuff happening prior to that, don't get me wrong, but like I said, this era, or this year with the 1996, they were, it was at full capacity. So the neck carves on the silver label, Strats, like you see here, they're unlike anything Fender really has put out to this day. Kind of a soft D/C shape, and that was that was produced out of the custom shop in 95 through 97 as well. So it's a good feeling neck. The kind of the flat oval is the closest that you'll get to it, maybe in some of the 60s reissue Strats, but they definitely feel unique, especially in this year. And I personally don't have a lot of experience with a 1997 or a 95. I have a lot of experience with the 96. They seem to be more common. So the truss rods also, they always use the 3/16 inch Imperial setting, which that's made in America. That's not an import truss rod. And a lot of the Squire necks used the 4mm. So that was a good. That was the difference between the Squire series and the ones that were made in America, or I'm sorry, the ones that were made in Mexico. But the stuff that was from the import, from the Japan operations, always had that metric. And then you could also see when you flip the pick guards over, all of the Squire series ones had the little tiny dime-sized pots with the little junky PC board switch, like a little square that was inside the in the cavity, and it all had the smaller routing holes for all the potentiometers. Whereas the Fender standard, like these made in Mexico's in front of you, the one on the left is 100% stock, and it has the stock pickups, which had the ceramic with the bar magnets on each side, not over the top, and it had the large CTS potentiometers, and it did not have a Switchcraft output jack, but they the rest of it was the Fender 5-way switch, and also the stamp saddles that were Fender stamp saddles, not the ones that are blank that you would have gotten on the Squire series. On mine, and some of you probably have noticed when I showed you the headstock, I put the Fender Elite string trees in place of the ones that you get from the Made in Mexico's, which were just those butterfly kind of bent stamped saddles. So you have John Suhr overseeing the standard or the quality that was going on down there. And in 1996, like these models in front of you, these are just the basic standard series. They also had there was some called the Tex-Mex series that had a humbucker in the bridge position, and there was also, I believe, some anniversary models, or not anniversary, but artist models. There was a Richie Sambora and also a Jimmy Vaughn Strat that were also produced with that silver label on top. And those are the ones I'm talking about in comparison. So if you have a chance to get your hands on these, the one on the right I got for $220 about 5 years ago, and it is still to this day my favorite guitar of all time to play. And the one on the left, I think I paid about $450 after shipping on it. And I wanted a rosewood version of that exact Strat, even though the sunburst finish is a little bit different. So on the 50th anniversary ones, I think it has that 60s, that's called a 60s burst. It's got a little bit of red color inside on that burst, but the necks and the finish and everything is exactly the same. I will say, as far as pickups are concerned, I know a lot of people either complain about the Made in Mexico pickups, which I would almost agree, and just that is also that's definitely up to each person. But the ones that came in the guitar on the right, the anniversary one, were extremely muddy, and that that too warm of a sound for me personally. So those got switched to those have 1962 reissue Japanese reissue pickups in it. But the one on the left came from Fender. Just as it is, 100% stock, and the ones that seem to be good, and you can look them up on a lot of the forums, it looks like somebody drilled 2 Phillips head screws into the bridge pickup for some reason. It almost looks like it was done, by some amateur that got the guitar that had a problem with it, so they just drove a couple screws into it. But no, that was actually done. For what reason, I have no clue. But those pickups sound excellent, and there's nothing wrong with them at all. So that one's bone stock, other than the string tree, which you can have those on hand at all times if you ever had to put them back. So that's it. I think these guitars are going to escalate in value. I know they are of the quality to at least demand that kind of escalation in price, but they seem to be creeping up, and I really believe that these versions, not to be confused with the Squier series that was very very it comes up a lot when you do searches for a 96 Strat. So don't confuse them, and you'll be good to go. And I see these as being some of the original ones that shall increase in value over time. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you.